Hello everyone, Professor Thompson here. We are about 1 week away from unit number 1 being due in our Net 31 internet course. So unit number 1 is due on October 30th and today is the 23rd, so we are looking at 1 week. So this video announcement is going to cover a variety of topics. I wrote myself some notes here, so I'm going to try and march through these as quickly as I possibly can to give you the information I feel you need 1 week away. So hopefully everybody is settled in and everybody's working hard. This is a second 8-week course, so it will fly by, but we also don't have a ton of time to get everything done. Unit number 1 is also the largest unit that we have in the course, and so it's important that you buckle down early, and usually if you can get through unit number 1, you have a high success rate in the overall course. So make sure that you get stuff done now so that you don't regret it a little bit later. Okay, so let me run through my list of things. For the first speech that's due on the 30th, and it needs to be loaded by 11:30 p.m. on the 30th, keep it simple. I don't want you to try and cover too much, right? I had a student who tried to talk about what something was, 10 positive characteristics of it, 10 negative characteristics of it, and this topic, whatever topic it might be, becomes a 2-hour topic. Remember that this is a 5 to 7 minute presentation, and your goal is to keep it simple. Don't try and cover too much, right? I could simply do 3 characteristics that make Peyton Manning a Hall of Fame quarterback. Or I could do something like 3 awards that John Elway won during his career. I don't have to do these super deep topics. I'm going to tell you now, one of the fundamental ways that you score well on the first presentation is taking chapter 10 in the book and then applying that into your presentation. So I'm really concerned with format, right? Attention-getting strategy to start your speech. You're introducing your topic. You're providing why it might be important. You're previewing your main points. You've got 3 or 4 body points. You've got clear transitions between those body points. You have a clear summary at the end. Then after your summary and your conclusion, then after that, you have this separate final parting shot. The format is not complicated, and yet so many people leave out previews or summaries, or they try and cover too much in the body. Keep it simple. Right? And so realize that I'm not looking for a overly complex type of speech, right? Here are 4 main events that occurred in leading the U.S. into World War II, right? It's simple, it's chronological. I don't need, in-depth detail, 10 minutes per body point. The second thing that I want to emphasize, as I've watched so many of these initial speeches, is make sure that you are not reading your speech. You want to make sure you're talking about a topic that you know well and that you're not going to read to us. You need to pretend that I'm one of those audience members. I expect good eye contact. I want you to connect with your audience. I want to feel like you know what you're talking about. How can I see you as trustworthy? How can I feel like you know what you're talking about? And if you're reading your speech, there's some doubt on your comprehension, understanding, expertise of what you're saying. So don't read. That also means that you should probably practice your speech. Practice, okay? Next point. Make sure that you review the oral citation handout. The citation handout is at multiple places in the Blackboard shell. It's in the handout tab. It's in each of the unit tabs. But the oral citation means that you've got to do a little bit of research on your speech. And so I'm looking for specifically, where did you get the information? When was it published? So according to the January 4th, 2012 Time Magazine article, blah, 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 or in a journal article from the American Psychiatric Association published on July 18th, 2017, right? So look for a publication date. If you can't find a publication date, then you have to say when you as a researcher last accessed it. But you should easily be able to find sources for this presentation. Next point, your outlines. Your outlines are due. In this case, I know that the requirement sheet says the day before your speech, but I just care that you get me in your outlines when you are submitting your video. So make sure that you give me a roadmap. That's the outline to your presentation. I want to stress that on page, I think, 3 of the requirement sheet, I clearly outline what details I'm looking for in your outline. So review the requirement sheet. Make sure that you are familiar with what I want. I think I might even have an example outline posted online. But there's also a chapter in your textbook that covers outlining as well. So you have plenty of resources to make sure that you're submitting an outline, and you have information from me on the requirement sheet detailing what I'm looking for. You get points simply by turning in an outline first and foremost. So if you submit it using the outline link in Blackboard, you get credit for it. However, on the actual presentation score, after you've submitted it and gotten credit, I will also evaluate that you have the core criteria that I mentioned on the requirement sheet, and I will score that out as well. So you kind of get a grade in 2 different places for your outline. So please make sure that you are completing those. Another point about the upcoming presentation is that some of you will be using PowerPoint for your speech. Now, you can use any visual aid you want, an object, a picture, a handout, PowerPoint. You know, if you use a handout, I'm going to see that you're going to hand that out on your video, or I'm going to see that you actually reference that handout on your video and there's something significant about it. If you use an object, I'm going to see you hold it up. If you use a PowerPoint, you want to make sure that the room or the location, your venue, has the capability to use PowerPoint effectively. I would very highly caution you against taking a laptop, opening it up, and showing a PowerPoint. That is not effective use of a visual aid in an environment or for an audience. It's too small. It's complicated. So sometimes we have to choose a visual aid based on our venue, and that's what many of you might be experiencing. So you have to choose contextually appropriate aids to your speech. If you use a PowerPoint, do not overload it with text. It is not a word-for-word version of your speech. If you are saying something that is also word-for-word on your PowerPoint, that's a bad slide. So please do not do that. PowerPoint is really an opportunity for you to visualize something for your audience. Okay, the last thing, well, 2 things. One is I am going to be updating grades as we get closer to the end of Unit 1. There are some discussion board postings that require you to respond to student posts. So you might want to look at that online, check your requirements, look at your syllabus, but there are a couple discussion boards where you need to respond. So I need to maximize or allow as much time as possible for you to do that. So I'll start working on grades probably this weekend to get those updated. The last thing is, and I can't stress this enough, you have to follow IAI, State of Illinois speech requirements. These are outlined in the syllabus multiple places. I'm mentioning them again in this video. When you submit your video, you need to make sure that you have 8 or more people. That's non-negotiable. You need to make sure that you are using a public venue, which means outside of your house. You can be in a movie theater, a boardroom, a conference room, a classroom, an outdoor amphitheater. You can't be in your house. And to be honest, I just graded a class, another online class, and I had 3 students present in their living rooms. And I don't know what part of not in your house was unclear. So I just want to make sure that for this class, you're very clear outside of a household residence. The last requirement, other than the audience of 8 or more people that has to be verified on video outside a residence, is that it must be one video submission. You're uploading one video, and it's a beginning to end take. Remember that you as a student, you have the final say before you upload that presentation, right? If it's not good, then re-record it, redo it. Take another beginning to end take. But when you click upload, make sure that it adheres to the State of Illinois standards. Make sure that you're satisfied with that submission, because ultimately it comes back to you as a student. That's your work, okay? So anyway, if you have questions, if you have concerns, please email me. I look forward to helping you out in this journey, all right? I know you can do it. Take care. We'll see you all soon.